Real quick before we start, when I was recording this video, I forgot to mention a couple things. Thing number one, this channel is now my main channel for the foreseeable future. Maybe I'll get into the specifics of it one day, but that other channel, that's in YouTube jail right now. That I can't upload there anymore, only uploading here. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that I have new merch. I'm not wearing it right now because getting samples during Christmas season and COVID season is a little bit difficult, but just pretend that I am. And if you want to support your boy, there's a link in the description and in the pinned comment, and I would very much appreciate that. Okay, on with the video. America is a strange place, and me as an American, I can admit that. And I can only imagine that for a non-American, it's even more confusing, but you're just going to have to try your best to follow along today if you fall into that category, all right? Europe is a big piece of land. It's a continent, and it's divided up into smaller countries, and each one of those countries has its own culture and history and language, and America isn't much different. It's just instead of being divided up into countries, it's divided up into states, but each one of those states has its own culture and history and language. Like New York, for example, everyone walks around New York talking about, I'm walking here. That's how they do it in New York. I'm walking here. And what's that TV show with the alligators in Louisiana and that one guy? I can't understand a word that dude says.
We're gonna do the alligator shuffle. Yeah.
Before the day is over, I'm gonna try to give you singing lessons. It's a rainy day in the bayou.
I like watching him on TV though. That man wrestling with them alligators, that's very manly. Getting a little bit off topic here. I'm sorry about that. I'm going insane, I think. Today I want to talk about the part of America that makes the least amount of sense to me, and that is the Dakotas. So we've got North Dakota and we've got South Dakota. And that leads me to my first question, which is why? Why do we have two Dakotas? What is happening in the Dakotas that's so important that it necessitates two whole Dakotas? I've lived in America for a long time, 32 years to be exact. And the only thing I know about the Dakotas is that Mount Rushmore is there. And I couldn't tell you which Dakota it's in. I just know it's one of them. And I get that we can't just combine them into one super Dakota because then we would only have 49 states and then we've got one too many stars on the flag, and that's a logistical nightmare. They just slammed my knee into the desk. Oh. But I have a solution that would solve that problem a little bit, because here in Florida, I think we could do with being divided into two separate states. Let me explain. Where I live, in the Miami area, that's where most of the people in Florida are. And I'm going to tell you something about this part of Florida. We suffer very greatly from a little thing called global warming. Have you heard of it? Let me explain why global warming is a problem. Because the sea levels are rising. And this part of Florida exists at or below sea level. Meaning you can't walk outside and dig a hole. You stick a shovel in the ground, water. The soil is very moist. It's a swamp. Get out of my swamp. The rising sea level problem has become such an issue that on Miami Beach, they had to install pumps on every block to pump out the seawater during high tide. And I'm not talking about a rainstorm or a hurricane or a tsunami that's making the streets flood. High tide. That's high tide. And I know what you're thinking, well, why is the government's got to do something about that? That's a problem. But here's the problem with the government in Florida. It exists all the way up here in Tallahassee. And that's practically Alabama, and they have sex with their sisters in Alabama. They don't believe in global warming. They think everything is fine. So hear me out on this. We combine the two Dakotas into one big Dakota, and we cut Florida into two separate Floridas so we can, govern ourselves down here. That probably won't work out very well now that I say it out loud. And look, I wasn't the first one that had this idea. We've been trying to vote on separating Florida into two Floridas for as long as I can freaking remember, and it just never happens. I just think it's not a terrible idea. I think worse things could happen. I'm getting really off topic right now. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just losing my mind. Another weird thing that's happening in the Dakotas right now is they're going for the high score in COVID-19 2020 Game of the Year edition. I don't know what's wrong with these people. All I know is that if there's some sort of like zombie outbreak, I don't want to be anywhere near the freaking Dakotas. Let me show you this highlight reel of things that people said out loud in South Dakota.
You might be listening to academics.
I will not comply. I will not go against this. And
they've even had children in China that were required to wear masks, and they actually died.
Fauci and the CDC and the WHO, those guys,
How much longer do you think you can trample over people's lives, on people's dignity?
God created a nose, mouth, and chin to use daily.
This is South Dakota, where under God, the people rule.
Got to share with you guys is that God did not put his breath inside of you to be a disease-spreading monster.
We can go to the AI path and be put into the mainframe, or we can be free people, human. I'm not leaving the country. I'll live in a hole. I'm not alone either.
I bought a body shop on 1 acre in Black Hawk. I bought a brand new truck here from the Toyota dealership. I also bought a new trailer. There is a rock down the street. I think you may have heard of it. It's called Mount Rushmore, and it stands for freedom. Thank you.
Fear, fear, and fear. This thing that you're putting around here, newsflash, we're all gonna die one day.
Excuse me, what? Look, I'm a Florida man. I know weird when I see it. Freaking look at me, okay? These people they're insane. It's insanity. Not a single person in that room laughed. Did you hear any laughter? I didn't. Y'all say Florida man is out of control. I think we need to talk about South Dakota man because I think he might be giving us a run for our money. I don't know why they're so eager to all get COVID because it's not like there's a whole lot of people in the Dakotas to begin with. The population's not very high. They seem to be speed running COVID. And more power to them, I guess. Maybe when they're done doing that, then all of us who are living underwater in South Florida can just go live in South Dakota instead. I'm sure we could have a much better go at it. I don't really have anything else to add. I don't know why I'm making this video. I saw this and it made my brain turn to mush. And I thought, you know what? Let me yell at a camera about this because I feel like I should. Okay, that's it.